What a night at Kenilworth Road tonight. Luton Town beat Sunderland 3-2 in aggregate to steal a place in the Championship playoff finals. Sunderland fans, if you're tuned in on the way home, I would have been just as glowing had you got through. All 4 teams that were in those playoff spots in the Championship are in those playoff spots to start it off. None of them are still getting parachute payments. And that is phenomenal. And I'd have to look back through the record books to when that last happened. It certainly doesn't happen often. And as somebody who worked in the Championship, I saw it every year. Such a long season that the teams that just didn't have that extra bit of money, the extra 3 or 4 signings, would drop away almost through no fault of their own. But you look at who's went up this year. The parachute payments make an absolute world of difference in that division. And I am lost in admiration for the 4 teams that are there, the jobs that have done. But Luton Town, are you kidding me that they could be a Premier League team? And I mean that with complete love. Totally made up for them. I'm joined by Helen, who's a Luton Town fan and was at the game. Hi, Els.
Hello.
Are you all right?
I am very well, thank you. I'm a very happy hatter this evening.
As if your night could be ruined, I've done as much as I could to ruin it by inviting on Kieran Maguire, the football expert who's with me. How you doing, Mr. Finance?
I'm grand, thank you, Colin.
Do you need to call me Kevin there?
I nearly called you Kevin, yeah.
That's all right. Someone trolled me on Twitter the other day for on Sunday night, incensed at what I was doing in the radio until I pointed out to them I'm not on the radio, but it's a first for me. I've never annoyed someone from the M1, but it was a different presenter. Helen, talk me through, first of all, just tonight and the experience, and then I really want to get into it with you.
Well, I was today I've been excited, I've been nervous, I was thinking, yeah, we can do it. Then I'd have moments of doubt and just, yeah. And then I went down to the club at lunchtime, helped to put all the cards out on the seats, to put the message out at the beginning. So that kind of added to my experience. And yeah, got down to the ground early. The atmosphere was amazing. You know, the fans really are the 12th man.
Yeah. You see, it's interesting that, right? Because your defence is second or third best defence in the Championship. You're 2-0 up and you'd back them any week at home. But this is the playoffs and this is Luton. It was nail-biting. It was absolute
it really
nail-biting.
was.
And I'm so glad you mentioned going out and helping, because I said earlier in 5Live Sport, this is a club with very little real estate and very little room outside of the ground you're currently in, yet you do so much community work. That club is completely a different club than anyone who hasn't been there since the 80s. And the work that you all do deserves so much credit. But Luton Town in the Premier League, Helen, let's look back over the last, how many seasons do we have to go back now? What, 2014? So what's that, 9 years winning the Conference Premier?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Is going on? What a story.
It's been a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people will say it's not easy being a Luton Town fan. You have lows and you have very low lows, and we've had highs, and you know, this is one of those exceptional highs that, you know, we're all kind of, do we dare to dream?
Yeah.
Like, is it possible for a team like Luton to be in the Premiership?
Yes, it is. You have to believe. You have to believe.
And I think after tonight, the belief is real.
Yeah.
I think it's there, 90 minutes away from potentially Premiership football.
Yeah, your manager's got the AFL Midas touch with Forest Green, wasn't it? And then with you guys, I think is Colin Morris you keep your finances quite quiet, but he's your record signing, isn't he? And he's what, 2 million?
Yes,
Imagine that.
I believe he is. Yeah.
Right, you're going to Premier League, never spent more than 2 million in a player. It is phenomenal what you're doing, and you've been there. Well, you know, Helen, like what I was just saying, Millwall, Luton Town, when in the Championship, Preston North End. That last quarter of the season, injuries are kicking in. Squad depth becomes so important, and those parachute payments are the difference, right? You don't have that bigger squad, and that's so like for all 4 not to have parachute payments that are in these playoffs, sensational.
It is quite unbelievable.
Oh, they're hatters.
You know, we just look at the table, and you know, to see us sitting proudly in third place through our own merit, you know, it is something to be proud of. It's something for every Hatters fan to be proud of. You know, the group of lads that goes out there week after week, you know, they give it their all, and couldn't be prouder of them.
Let's bring in Kieran Maguire. Hopefully he's not going to burst your bubble in any way, shape or form in this night of celebration, even if he has to lie. I worked it out, Kieran. I think the 20th biggest budget in the in the Championship this season. Does that ring true with you?
20th or 21st, absolutely. You're very much on the medal there. And if they go up, they will earn as much money from one season in the Premier League as they will have done for the last 18 or 20 put together, given their experiences in the lower leagues, and it will be an incredible achievement.
Yeah, I mean, there are Cinderella stories. We can talk through Brentford's rise to the Premier League and how that club's been run during that time. Just give us a little appraisal of Luton Town going, as we said, 9 years from Conference Premier to possible 90 minutes away from the Premier League.
I think you've got to give huge credit to Gary Sweet and his team, the owners of the club. They've had a strategy, they've had a plan. They've not gambled with the future of the club. I mean, as you rightly said, they've got a low budget. The squad cost in total is £5.5 million. That will get you, a toe in the Premier League. So it's instead of being bigger, it's a case of being smarter, and that's the approach which has been taken by the executives, by the management team, by the coaches, and tremendously well done.
And seeing as I got Luton right, and I'm using the same resource, Sunderland 18th biggest budget in the Championship this year, so huge credit to how they're doing it. And Kieran, doesn't it just poo-poo on the BS that when justification for running clubs into the ground is, well, we have to spend that to try and go, we had to gamble to get to the Premier League. Well, actually, no, what you've got in your hand is precious. Don't abuse it.
You're absolutely right. Having a squad and who are together and working to a plan can come to fruition. I think those clubs that try to short circuit the system by spending twice as much money as they bring in on wages, they are gambling with the future. And those owners, who often aren't fans of the club, are just are putting the history and the heritage and everything that means so much to the fans of Luton and Sunderland and the two other teams who've done phenomenally well to get the playoffs this season. And remember, the clubs that just missed out, Millwall and Blackburn were very close to it. And again, they weren't in receipt of parachute payments either. Right,
and I'll always heap praise on, if you look at the finishing, if you look at the possession of, like, you can never say teams like, oh my goodness me, never say that, of Millwall, of Preston North End, about March every season in the Championship, and that is absolutely, the brick wall they hit is actually just that, not having that extra finance. I have so much respect for what they do in the Championship year in, year out. Helen, you're sorted for a ticket. Surely you're sorted for a ticket, right?
Oh yeah, I'll be straight there as soon as I'm allowed to get my ticket. The whole family will be buying one. We'll be there.
Will you come back on if you make it?
Of course I will.
Right. Can I just ask Can I ask you a wee dull question, Helen? Where are you with this new stadium? And would you I suppose if you get to the Premier League, that'll be what you need for this new stadium?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the money will obviously have to go to new players and stuff, but obviously it would also help towards the new stadium. Everyone knows Kenilworth Road isn't really a Premiership stadium, but if we make it, it will be good enough. Stuff will be done to it to make it good enough for the Premiership.
Yeah.
And it will be great to see some of the Premiership clubs come into Kenilworth Road. A lot of people say, oh God, look at Kenilworth Road. But to us, it's home. But to move forward, we do need that new ground.
If I'd say this, right, and listen, I would absolutely love to see you go. I'd love to see Coventry go up. I'm not whichever one, as we said, we talked about the lack of parachute payments. It makes it just a dream playoff scenario. But if you do go up and you are going to visit Kenilworth Road next season, it's magical. But don't bring anyone who's 6'7". Just if you've got a seat, if you're 6'7", forget about it. You'll have no shins left. Small fans only are allowed into Kenilworth Road.
That's exactly right.
I'm just delighted, Helen, for you. I really, really am. It couldn't happen to a nicer club, whether you go up or not. The day out at Wembley and where you are, punching above your weight. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Congratulations, Helen.
It's going to be an amazing day out. It will be an amazing day.
I love it.
Can't wait.
I love it. And Kieran, isn't it good that we phone you to come on for a few minutes, not to tell the tale of a club who are being mismanaged, not to tell the tale of another club going to the wall, but how to do it and do it with a bit of class, eh?
It's absolutely wonderful, because I've been on Radio Southampton, Nottingham, Leeds and Merseyside this week about the clubs potentially going down from the Premier League. So I've been a bit like the Grim Reaper. So yes, it's an absolute delight to be here.
Nice. Delight to have you on as always, my friend. Thank you so much. Oh, he mustn't be a friend if he doesn't even say goodbye. I'll be sending him a little DM. See, I've said goodbye to Helen. She's still here. That's manners, Helen. Lots of love to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colin.
No love at all.
Thank you.
No
Bye-bye.
love at all to Kieran Maguire. Thank you very much on that bombshell. Let's get the latest news and sport with Nick Hatton.